We have a couple more trades to talk about today, one of which just happened and is pretty significant. The other is more of a minor deal that happened a few days ago, so we'll save that one for the end of the video and start off with the bigger of the two trades because I'm sure that's why everyone's here. So Trevor Zegras has finally been traded after having his name involved in trade rumors for well over a year now. And the team that he has been traded to is the Philadelphia Flyers. The full details of the trade: the Flyers have acquired Trevor Zegras in exchange for Ryan Poehling, Columbus's 2025 second-round pick, which is 45th overall this year, and Philadelphia's 2026 fourth-round pick. And I'm not going to lie, my initial reactions to this trade are that this return feels a bit light for Anaheim. When news broke that Zegras was being traded to the Flyers, I thought for sure Anaheim would at least be getting back one of Philadelphia's 3 first-round picks. Likely one of the later ones, 22nd overall or 31st overall. It kind of feels like Anaheim sold low on Trevor Zegras here, but we'll get into that more in a little bit. Let's first start off by talking about this trade for the Philadelphia Flyers. I think this is a no-brainer of a trade for the Philadelphia Flyers to make. To me, this is the definition of a low-risk, high-reward move. Yes, Trevor Zegras is coming off of a couple of injury-riddled seasons where his production wasn't really anywhere close to the level he was producing at in his first few seasons in the league. Does his game have holes? Yes, he's not a very good defensive player, isn't overly physical, but the skill is obviously there. He has one of the best set of hands in the entire league. He's a very good playmaker, and he has already proven that his playstyle can be successful in the NHL. This is a guy who was a finalist for the Calder Trophy in his rookie season. He scored 23 goals and put up 60-plus points in each of his first 2 seasons in the league, and then Greg Cronin took over as Anaheim Ducks head coach, and all of a sudden, Zegras fell off a little bit. And again, injuries obviously played a part in why he's had a rough couple of seasons, but I really do believe that he just wasn't a great fit in Greg Cronin's system, and I honestly think Greg Cronin just wasn't a great coach for that Anaheim Ducks team, and I think the front office quickly realized that as well, considering the fact that he only lasted 2 seasons. I think Flyers fans should be really happy with this move. If he's able to stay healthy, I would not be surprised at all if next season he gets back to being a 20-plus goal, 60-plus point player. The idea of him potentially playing on the same line as Matvei Michkov has to be very exciting for Flyers fans. I know Zegras has played a lot of wing over the last couple of seasons, but I'm curious to see if Philadelphia plans on using him primarily as a center, which is where he played for the majority of his first few seasons in the league. Considering the fact that Philly had a clear need for a skilled top 6 center, and the fact that they traded away a center as part of the package to bring Trevor Zegras in, I feel like they will probably look to use Zegras at the center position, at least to start out. So again, overall, I think a really solid move here for the Flyers. Low risk, high reward. I'm sure Trevor Zegras is probably pretty excited about this move as well, considering how his last few seasons in Anaheim went. He's somebody that could definitely use a fresh start, and he gets to reunite with one of his best friends in Jamie Drysdale, so that's a plus for him as well. Shifting focus now, let's talk a little bit about this trade for the Anaheim Ducks. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this feels like a pretty light return for Trevor Zegras. Obviously, the Ducks front office just didn't view him as a big part of the team's future anymore, but even with that said, I feel like they would have been better off letting Zegras start next season with the Ducks and see if he can find his game again under a new head coach, and then they could always revisit trading him again at the trade deadline or next summer when he's a restricted free agent, when his value is hopefully a little bit higher than it is right now, because right now it feels like Anaheim just traded Zegras when his value was at an all-time low. I'm not going to sit here and say this was an absolute fleece by the Philadelphia Flyers. I never like to say that about any trades initially, because we always just have to wait and see how things play out. And over the last few seasons, Ryan Poehling has been a pretty solid two-way third-line center for the Philadelphia Flyers. He put up a career high in points this past season with 31. He's on a cheap deal. He's still only 26 years old, so he should be a pretty solid addition to the Anaheim Ducks bottom 6. But just from a pure value standpoint, I can't help but feel this trade is a little bit underwhelming for Anaheim, considering the fact that Trevor Zegras was a 9th overall selection back in 2019 and had such a promising start to his career. So those are my thoughts on the Trevor Zegras trade. Let's now shift focus and talk a little bit about the smaller trade that happened a few days ago. A good old 1-for-1 swap here, as the Seattle Kraken acquired Joe Veleno from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for Andre Burakovsky. And in my eyes, this is a win-win trade. For Seattle, you're getting a guy in Joe Veleno who really at this point in his career, I think on a decent team is a fringe NHLer. It's a bit of added center depth for the Kraken, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing about this trade for Seattle is just moving on from Andre Burakovsky's Burakovsky's contract. He has 2 more years left on his deal with a cap hit of $5.5 million. This was a signing that really just never worked out for Seattle. Burakovsky's tenure with them was riddled with injuries, and he was just never really able to find his scoring touch, especially after going out and trading for Mason Marchment a few days ago. Someone like Andre Burakovsky was very expendable for Seattle. It makes sense that they'd want to move on from him. In the end, Seattle turned a 3rd and a 4th round draft pick and Andre Burakovsky into Mason Marchment and Joe Veleno, which I think is a good bit of work by them. And for the Blackhawks, they're a team that's obviously looking to improve their forward group, so for a team like them, I think a guy like Burakovsky is worth taking a chance on. He helps them hit the cap floor, and hopefully with a fresh start with Chicago, he can get back to being the 20-goal guy that he was for a few seasons with Colorado. If not, it's not really the end of the world, because Chicago is a team with no shortage of cap space, and they really didn't give up much of anything to bring him in. Like I previously said, I think Joe Veleno, at best, is a fringe NHLer on a decent team. So that is going to wrap up today's video, giving you guys my thoughts on the couple of trades that happened since I last made a video. As always, I want to know what you guys are thinking, especially if you're a fan of any of the teams that were involved in the trades that we broke down today. Let me know how you're feeling. Sound off down below in the comments. If you made it all this way to the end of the video and you ended up enjoying yourself, please remember to leave a like. It's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed, and it does help with the videos a ton. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year round, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all again soon.